SMISA is the St Mirren Independent Supporters Association. We recently, well, almost 2 years ago now, took joint control of the club with Gordon Scott. Gordon's the majority shareholder, he owns just over 50%, and SMISA, the Supporters Trust, own about 29%. So when we did this deal, SMISA started about 15 years ago, just as a small supporters trust. The intention was really just to help out the club in any way it can, as a lot of sports trusts do. Through a number of projects, they were kind of engaging with support. They were buying bits and pieces for the first team or equipment for the youth academy, things like that. It was quite a small group, maybe 50 members, 100 members. So that was it kind of existed for about 15 years in that mould, fundraising and doing various things like that. But around about 2015, they started to look seriously at fan ownership at St Mirren. At the same time, we came up with this partnership with Gordon that allowed us to do it, kind of sooner than maybe we'd anticipated. So the buyout then happened in the summer of 2016, and as I say, Gordon took 51% majority shareholding, and SMISA took 29%. And then over the next few years, we'll buy out Gordon to take majority ownership into the Supporters Trust. And really, since the summer of 2016, when that happened, there's been a lot of real progress that's happened at the club, and I think that's really linked to the fact that supporters now have real influence. One of those things is that they've got influence in the boardroom through me, where I can take their issues and their concerns and I can bring that to the football club board. But some of the other great things that the Supporters Trust have done, one of the first things we did was we built this platform for supporters with disabilities. As you know, normally supporters with disabilities are in the kind of bus shelters at the side of the pitch, and it's not a great location. But we've been able to build this really fantastic platform at the back of the stand here that gives them a great view of the pitch, and they're protected from the elements. That's just one way in which supporter ownership or part ownership at the heart of the club has helped the support in general. More generally, I think the supporters feel that they've got a bit more ownership of their club. They feel they're a bit more connected to it. The communication's much better now. They understand more about what's happening, what's going on. The atmosphere, even at home games, we've got a singing section that's kicked off in over the last 18 months. Again, these things are only coming about because the fans feel much more part of the club. The initial drive that we had was to get 1,000 fans to join by the summer of 2016, and we smashed that target. To be honest, we got over 1,300. Since then, that's stayed relatively stable. I think right now we're sitting at 1,250 members or thereabouts, but we're always looking for more people to join. And in fact, just at our AGM last month, we set a target to get back above 1,300 within this year. So more people can join. We're always willing for welcoming of more people to join, and they can sign up at the website smisa.net. Any issues, there's contact there. We can contact us on Facebook and on Twitter and social media, email. So we're open for people to join. We're open for people to come and communicate with us, and if they've got particular concerns before joining, then we're happy to talk with people, meet up with people, talk to them about the project, and help them understand it if that's something that would help them consider joining. Being the fan representative on the board is a real challenge. My background is kind of in engineering and business development, and that's all about kind of data and analysis and having a good strategy. Of course, on the football side of things, you want all of those things, but the uncertainties and the unknowns are much greater, and that's one of the things that I've probably realised is that football's a very difficult business to make projections and to make plans and so on. So being the fan representative in that, I've had my eyes opened a little bit, but I think that helps. And one of the main things I have to do is communicate between the Supporters Trust Board and the Football Club Board. Having that understanding a bit more of the uncertainties and the challenges the football club face, I think helps the Supporters Trust and the wider support understand that sometimes when the board makes decisions that maybe they don't like or they don't agree with, it's not coming from a bad place necessarily. It's not coming from anything mischievous. It's just sometimes the club board needs to do things in a certain way. The great thing about being the fan representative in the boardroom is that the fans are always considered in these decisions. The impact on the fans, what it will mean to them, what their views are, because often people will contact me with their views or their opinions on particular things, and I can make those views heard. Whether I agree with them or not is kind of irrelevant. I can bring them to the table and say, look, this is the feedback I'm getting on this particular issue. We've also, one of the other things we've introduced, again through sort of fan representation at the club, is SLOs. We brought them in just this year. So again, there's then another avenue for the support to bring particulars, more specifically match day issues and things like that, to the board. But I think the fan representation at St Mirren now is really good. In fact, as I said earlier, the fans are really getting communicated with, I think, on a level that they never were before. And also that communication is going the other way, and the board are hearing more of the voice of the fans. This year has been a really fantastic year for all the support. I think when we took over in 2016, when I first joined the board, the first 6 months couldn't have gone any worse. It was a really, I have to say, it was a really stressful experience for everybody on the board, and it wasn't really wasn't an enjoyable first 6 months. And changing the manager was not something we had any intention of doing that early. Our pitch to the fans at the time and our sort of strapline for takeover was, you know, kind of business as usual. We'll continue to run the club in the way that it has been run. But it became apparent very quickly that we had to make some changes. I'm really pleased with how they've paid off, and the board worked really hard to put in place a really good structure after those first 6 months to say, okay, we need to get this thing back on track. So for the rewards of that to be the trophy and to win the league and to win it in some style and quite comfortably and playing some really good football was really, really special. So from a supporter's perspective, it was a fantastic season and probably one of the best seasons for as long as I've been supporting St Mirren. From a director's point of view, it was actually interesting because the first half of the season was really enjoyable, but from about Christmas, January time, everybody started to kind of get the expectation of, well, we could really win this, we could win the league. And then that expectation level got ramped up, and then it became, again, quite stressful to make sure we did get over the line and we did deliver on that, because I think it would have been really disappointing after the kind of first half of the season if we hadn't gone on to win it. The goal really for next season, I think we want to do more than just survive. I think if you set your objective as survival, then that's the best you can hope to do. So our goal will be to really be kind of progressive, to play some good football, to try and get as high up the league as we possibly can, and hopefully we're pushing for the top 6. We've seen lots of clubs of similar size do it in over the past 10, 15 years, and we've never quite been one of them. So I think our objective next year has got to be to try and get into that group that's pushing for the top 6. We know that will be really challenging. So from a club perspective, that's what we really want to do. From SMISA, Supporters Trust, and for myself, I think that one of our objective has got to be to grow the membership, to really continue to engage with the fans, continue to make their voice heard, and then towards the end of this year, I'll stand down from the St Mirren board, and really, somebody else will take up the baton, and it's then over to them to keep going, keep the progress going. I mean, you can only do so much,